Just as the Garner family teeters on the edge of bankruptcy, Seth Garner's parents come to my doorstep. They beg for a marriage alliance. My father knows I've loved Seth for 10 years. So, he pours $10 billion into the Garners to save their empire and marries me off to him. On our wedding night, Seth blindfolds me with red silk and takes me again and again with ruthless intensity. A month later, I excitedly bring him the pregnancy report. However, I overhear him at a bar, laughing with his friends. So, who do you think knocked up Luna? Laughter erupts. Seth, don't tell me the child's mine. I bet 100 grand it's his. That's when I realize the man in my bed on our wedding night wasn't even Seth. I storm in and demand answers, but he just sneers. What are you crying for? If your family hadn't threatened me with money and driven Ash away, you think I'd treat you like this? Let me be clear, the day Ash forgives me is the day I let you go. Dead inside, I ask for a divorce. He responds by threatening me with footage from our wedding night and locking me in the basement. You're not leaving. You owe Ash, and you'll repay it. 8 months later, I die in that basement, along with the baby I couldn't deliver. When I open my eyes again, I'm back to the day the Garner family first begs my father for that deal. This time, Seth is the one crying on my wedding day. Lulu, Seth does actually like you very much as well. He'd be delighted if you could marry into our family. I jolted awake, and the sincere expressions of Mr. and Mrs. Garner appeared in my line of vision. In an instant, I realized that I had been reborn. Mrs. Garner held my hand gently and smiled as she said, I know that you've had a crush on Seth for 10 years. If our families had a marriage alliance, my parents chuckled awkwardly. They both knew that the Garners were only here for a marriage alliance because they were on the brink of bankruptcy. They needed my family to inject $10 billion in funds. However, they also knew that I was hopelessly in love with Seth Garner. They felt that it wouldn't be a bad thing if I could marry him and fulfill my wish. However, I now wanted nothing more than for him to die. I recovered and interrupted Mrs. Garner. I don't want to marry Seth. Everyone's gaze swung abruptly toward me. They seemed shocked that I would refuse the marriage, as I had followed Seth around like a lovesick fool for years. Mrs. Garner looked at me in shock. Lulu, did you and Seth get into an argument? I'll give him a scolding when I get back. I shook my head. There's no need for that. Harry Garner thought for a moment. Is it because of Ashley Turner? When I didn't say anything, he sighed. Ashley is just a low-income student that our family is funding. Seth only treats her well because he pities her. Don't worry. I'll send Ashley away as soon as I get home. She'll never appear in front of Seth again. He had said the same thing in my past life, but it had only made Seth hate me. He felt that I had forced Ashley to leave. That was why Seth had allowed me to be tortured by other people on the night of our wedding. After I found out, he imprisoned me in the basement and forced me to have the child, just to bet on whose child it would turn out to be. When my parents realized that something was wrong and came looking for me, Seth revealed the video of our wedding night. He had said to them with a look of hatred on his face, "This is your precious daughter. She's disgusting." My parents had been heartbroken after watching the video, and both of them had fallen sick and taken to their beds. Seth hadn't shown any guilt at all. Instead, he had brought Ashley to me and looked scornfully at me as he said, "When your parents die, I'll take over Wood Corp and give it to Ash as a gift to make things up to her." I had despaired and died during childbirth. At the memory of it, I trembled with anger and blurted out, "Seth isn't worth marrying." Upon hearing what I had said, Harry looked displeased. "Our family may not be in the best condition right now, but if your family is willing to invest, I can guarantee that you won't make a loss." He wasn't lying. After my parents invested $10 billion and revived the Garners, their business had gotten better and better. Our family had earned more than $100 million in profits without having to lift a finger. I wasn't going to turn down the chance of getting money. I said coldly, "I will enter a marriage alliance with the Garners, but not with Seth. I'll do it with Ryan Garner." There was a sudden silence, which lasted for a few seconds. Harry shot to his feet. "Did you say Ryan? He's paralyzed. He can't even stand. Is this some kind of joke?" Dad hastily tried to dissuade me. "Lulu, don't be silly." I patted the back of Dad's hand gently so that he wouldn't panic. Although Ryan was Seth's youngest uncle, he was only 4 years older than Seth. The two of us were practically childhood friends. However, he had lost the use of his legs in a car accident, after which we had gradually grown apart. In my past life, he had been the first one to discover me after Seth imprisoned me in the basement. He had called out again and again, "Don't be scared." At the same time, he had repeatedly smashed the door. I had seen clearly that he wasn't paralyzed. When Seth arrived at the scene, he and a bunch of men beat Ryan half to death. I remembered Seth demanding viciously, "Uncle Ryan, why didn't you die when I got them to run you over? You wanted to take my dad's business, and now you want to take my woman. How could you be such an asshole?" Ryan hadn't gotten angry. He had even knelt down in front of him. "Let Lulu out, and I'll do whatever you want." Seth sneered and banged Ryan's head against the wall. It thumped loudly again and again. I would never forget what Ryan had said. "Lulu, I've looked for you for so long." Therefore, choosing Ryan was not a rash decision. As for Seth, I would make him pay the price. Breaking free from my reverie, I looked at the Garners. "I've considered it thoroughly, and I want to marry Ryan." When they saw how firm I was, they did not try to dissuade me further and agreed. After making the decision, I breathed a sigh of relief. I decided to go to Ryan's bar to look for him. However, I saw Seth and Ashley at the entrance to the bar. Seth saw me, and his smile immediately turned into a look of impatience. "Luna, why are you so annoying? Why do you follow me wherever I go?" His friend, who was standing behind him, laughed loudly. "I told you she would come tonight. I bet that she'd kneel and lick Mr. Garner's shoes if you told her to." Seth grinned slyly and gave me a calculating look. He lifted his foot. I felt revulsion rise up inside me, and I circled around him coldly. Move aside. Seth was startled. When he had recovered, he grabbed me forcefully. Luna, I already know that you're holding the investment funds over me for the marriage alliance. What kind of act are you putting on now? You don't think that I'll take a second glance at you just because you're pretending to act aloof, do you? I glanced impassively at him and said truthfully, I don't want to be in a marriage alliance with you. Seth was silent for a moment, but he suddenly jeered scornfully. You don't? Garner Group has already received an investment of $10 billion from your father. How can you still say that you don't want to be with me? Don't you know how demeaning it is for you to beg me to marry you? I nodded. I do know. That's why I won't marry you. When Seth realized what I was saying, he stood still, looking stunned. Finally, Ashley spoke up beside him. Seth, I'm guessing that Luna doesn't want to see me. If you don't marry her, Garner Group will. Forget it, I'll just go. Seth let go of me abruptly and turned to take Ashley into his arms. She's nothing. Even if she marries me like she wants to, I don't love her. Be good, Ash. We'll go and take wedding photos tomorrow. In my heart, you're my wife. The onlookers all let out wolf whistles when they heard him and began teasing Ashley and calling her Mrs. Garner. Seth glanced triumphantly at me, as if he were waiting for my reaction. In the past, he had loved watching me get humiliated. However, I did not react at all. Marry whoever you want. I don't care. Just as I was about to leave, Ashley blocked my path. Luna, drop the act. The media released reports this afternoon about the marriage alliance between the Woods and the Garners. I don't mind about the fact that you sent thugs to humiliate me, but I'm begging you. Please be good to Seth in the future. The truth about those thugs was that Ashley had orchestrated the entire thing. She had framed me to make herself look pitiful. I had tried to defend myself, but Seth just did not believe me. Now, I could not be bothered to explain. Seth's expression darkened. Why are you pleading with her? She's the kind of woman who will stop at nothing to get what she wants. She can never compare with you. He warned me. Marrying you is just for the sake of our mutual benefits. If you bully Ash again and I find out about it, I won't forgive. Before he could finish, I looked up and cut him off. All right, I've got it. If that's all, I'm going to leave. I headed into the bar without looking back. Mrs. Garner? In a few days, Seth would have to address me respectfully as his aunt.